Frank? Dynamite! Frank, come on, man. Can I Be Frank is all about capturing real, authentic, unedited conversation. Hi, this is podcast with Boris, and Boris is the filmmaker, an award-winning filmmaker. He made the film Who's Driving the Dreambus, and second film is called Being Here, A Beginner's Guide to Non-Duality. So we did a podcast a few months ago to try and talk about the film, and at the end of the podcast we were both going, Jesus, we're not going to publish this. And then I just had to look back and I thought it's not too bad, a little bit better than we thought it was. And why I'm giving an intro just to, I suppose, to talk about the film. I think the film is really beautifully shot, beautifully made film, and it deserves to get out there. You can buy I think if you're interested in non-duality, then this is really, really just a beautiful film, really well done. And I think Boris and Charles have done a stunning job of it. And so I'm kind of selling it because Boris is not capable, as you'll see in the podcast, of selling it. And so I'm just saying that if you're interested in this subject, I think you will find that really interesting. And then the podcast, it's kind of an hour, and where we talk about the film, or try to, and then talk about, I suppose, non-duality. And I'm going to play the ad directly after this, and then it'll be the podcast. And I think the trailer for the film gives you a sense of what the film is about, and that's enough to see whether you might be interested in watching the film. There's nothing in this for me. I just think it's a really good film, and it's worth saying it to people that might be interested in this subject. So, now, there you go, there's the pitch.
I think that one shoe is good. That's a good look. Do we know what we're talking about?
Not really, but we'll just start and see what happens.
I first met Boris a few years ago.
Not that second, a second ago, or a millisecond ago. Right now, this. No.
I'm trying to get you to tell me how many times a day you are thinking, I don't exist.
We're talking about life as it really is.
But Boris,
There's nothing that the self can do to make itself disappear, because it doesn't exist.
In my story of your life, you went on a search, and then it was seen, and then your life went on. He had an experience.
It was just a flash, and in that flash of nothing, there was everything.
Sometimes I feel with Boris, he's not covering things up, but not always acknowledging their significance. Whilst I can understand his apparent satisfaction with where he got to, I've always wondered, so what? When you talk to me like this, do you ever feel the need that I wish
To slap you.
Yeah, but I wish the guy could just fucking accept it and shut up. Maybe that's not answerable, maybe that is unknowable.
is that astrophysics or something?
Oh God, no, it's not anything. It's just nothing describing itself.
This is bullshit, this is all bullshit.
Hang on, what's it called
I don't
again?
know what you've been reading or watching. What's the point of it?
What's the point of the film?
Yeah.
Shit, I think I've gone the wrong way.
Right, no.
Yeah, we're
I tell you, that is going to bring you back to exactly where you were.
What I'm interested in is this bit here. Your life going on. What's going on there?
It's like when there's an itch in your foot, what does it feel like when it's not there anymore?
Well, yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Well, that's a good analogy, I think.
Conversation should go. I don't think that's putting anything on them. I think they're just really good with dealing in a media scenario.
And I was thinking about that and how that's something that I it doesn't even come into my mind, packaging something up and doing a spiel to sell the film or whatever. If I was, again, it's like when you want to sell something, then it becomes a very different thing, doesn't it? What you're doing is like my friend's just made a film, and he's going to be going around to all of the film shows and the critics and the screenings and he has to portray a certain image, I suppose, that he wants that helps the film sell, and he has to help. It makes sense. If you're going to try and sell a product, then you need to.
Yeah.
But this conversation that we're about to have, or that we're having, is sort of inspired by that subject, isn't it? Which they call non-duality.
Yeah.
And the film that I made, and I don't know anything about that, so it's not like I can even be an expert on it and kind of sell it to anyone, because the whole thing is kind of ridiculous in a way. And it started off with just a couple of blokes talking about making a film about this non-duality subject. And it became very clear from the beginning that, from my point of view, that this is very hard to talk about. It was very frustrating for Charles, who I was making the film, my friend who I made the film with, listening to me struggling with talking about non-duality, which is just life. It's this, and that's why I always feel about it. And I've had so many conversations with people where I've sort of thought after a few drinks that maybe talking about non-duality might be a good idea, this kind of, there are different responses, but usually it's just a glazed kind of look that comes over a person's face when you talking about something which is so ridiculously ordinary and simple, and yet impossible to grasp, so different to every other type of communication that's out there. So it doesn't sell you anything. It doesn't give you anything it doesn't give you any handles to hold on to. It's just it's totally without any kind of prescriptive dogma. It doesn't tell you to do A, B, and C to get to D. It's simply saying, this is it. And and the trouble is, I'm going on, my thoughts are just kind of popping into my head as I'm talking, but one of the criticisms of it is that it sounds kind of bleak and meaningless, because you're sort of saying the self is a complete illusion. There is no individual. There's no separate, because there's no separation. There's no individual person sitting here. There's no central controller. There's no free will. There's no responsibility. There's no choice. Because you're saying that, it's somehow a negative thing. It's somehow bleak and meaningless. But it's the total reverse of that, really. I mean, I can't think of anything worse than to be an individual, for that to be real, for you to be there on your own, in life.
Negotiating the world.
And that's what it feels like. That's what it feels, that's what it feels like from a young age. But I never really had that. I think for me, what happened is I grew up seeing people going in all kinds of different directions, and I thought maybe that was something to do. Maybe that's what you have to do, is work out what life is by joining a religion or joining a spiritual, some kind of new age philosophical, I don't know, some kind of movement that takes you from A to B to C to D, and then eventually you'll get to Z. And when that whole story drops away, that whole idea that there's someone that needs anything in that way, like, I'm not talking about, it's great to do yoga and meditation. All those things are really useful. Exercise, reading, it's great. But like, if we're talking about reality, this reality we find ourselves in every day, waking up in the morning, without all of the stories that we tell ourselves about it, it's kind of it's already as it is always. And it feels like me telling you this is going to be quite convincing, but I can see by the look in your face that it's not. And I'm not doing it very well, because
you're projecting anyway, but go on.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the expression of your face and I'm thinking maybe it's, but then, this is the thing. I've been in so many situations where I'm sort of inspired, maybe by the alcohol or whatever it is, to talk to someone about it.
Yeah. And
because it's like having this great thing that you want to share with people, and yet you can't share it with anyone. You can, but it's just, and I can see that you get a lot of joy out. You get a lot of, it's very funny, it's like you get a lot, it's sort of anarchic and funny and crazy. So I can see that you have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, I do and I don't. I mean, sometimes I'd go, it's like when I did, I would say I recently talked to Kenneth and then Andreas, and then afterwards I just thought, right, well, I'm not fucking talking about this again. I just can't take any more of it. And then suddenly, kind of just creeps back in, and you kind of go, oh, yeah. And then I find myself on YouTube looking at a video I've probably seen 20 times. And it's not that it sounds brand new, but you kind of hear it differently sometimes, and sometimes I use it to go to sleep, to be honest. I put on a bit of Tony Parsons and I'm just gone like. It's kind of so I like the anarchy of it.
So do you feel like you know what's being spoken about? Do you feel like you've kind of...
So I could have a go, I'd say, at saying it.
Yeah.
But I know that's probably, it is down to how much that I've heard about it, or, everything that I have consumed over the last whatever. That's what's influencing what I'm saying about it. I know it's not from... I don't know. It just feels like I could have a go describing, and I could use words like emptiness appearing as everything, but I wouldn't say it's true for me. Like, you know what I mean? I couldn't say, and I could say, but there's moments of there might be moments of kind of seeing it. And like, for example, I was talking to Kenneth there over, we were talking about something, we were talking about beer, I think. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, we just launch into this and this kind of conversation. And I kind of go, how does this happen? How have we got how are we going down here again? And, you know, by the end of it, I'm roaring laughing and I'm kind of going, oh, for fuck's sake, like, and, but still, you know, I mean, part of me does want to get it. Like, I want to kind of be able to, but then when I enter into the conversation of it, would say, there isn't that kind of sense of wanting to get it either. Do you know what I mean? So it's the weirdest fucking push-pull thing ever, really. For me, it is anyway. It's the on one hand, I'm here talking about it, and my brain goes, "Oh, you're a fucking what the fuck are you doing talking about this thing again?"
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, it's very rare that it's very rare that I talk about this. To be honest.
do you think that comes
it's
down to the
not-
very first thing that you said, though, about trying to, you know, I don't know, manage yourself or whatever, or how you speak?
Yeah.
And that really it probably would pour out, would it? I don't know, like maybe it
What
wouldn't.
was it? Say that again. What was
Well,
that?
you kind of were saying at the start about you don't talk with abandon sometimes because you were half worried about how it comes across, or
If we were going to have a chat about Final Cut Pro X right now,
yeah,
I would be very comfortable talking about that, and because it's a thing that I know very well, and I've been using it for 20 years,
yeah,
and I've got a certain level of expertise in that subject, so I can talk about it with, you know, comfortable in but then the non-duality thing, you know, that word, non-duality. I mean, what is, you know, people, when you say you don't know anything about it, like say you asked me a question about life, whatever, you had a question or you had something to say about it, and then something would pop into my mind in response to what you were saying. It would it's sort of coming from this place of complete freedom. It's not coming from a little well of knowledge.
okay.
So I'm very comfortable responding to kind of existential type questions. But for whatever reason, my brain chemistry struggles more with kind of more what other people seem to find more basic and easy. I think that might be a misconception. I don't know, but stuff like small talk, I can't stand small talk. It's like I'm acutely aware of like what people do when they're communicating, and it's no one's fault, but it's very good to create rapport, and it's useful and everything. But my brain's kind of sets alarm bells off, and I just want to run away from it, you know.
Do you really?
Sort of. Maybe not so much anymore, but it's just like you know, everyone has a different thing going on in their head, and my one is unique to this body-mind organism. So stuff happens.
Shit happens. And then shit happened so much that you went and made a movie about shit happening.
Yeah. Well, I thought, made a movie about it.
Well, you've made two movies, although the first one is different to the second one. First one is an award-winning movie. Just put that out there. That you're an award-winning director. And that was called Who's Driving the Dreambus.
Yeah.
And that's different than the one that's available on Vimeo now.
It is slightly different. I've obviously watched both of them and I've enjoyed both of them.
Yeah.
I actually got it delivered to me, the DVD, all those years ago of Who's Driving the Dreambus.
Yeah.
But it is a different. Well, you have different speakers in it,
Yeah.
and how come it changed? Do you think?
Do you mean the format of the film, or what?
Well, let's just. So for me, right, there's the people who talk on the subject of spirituality or enlightenment or whatever, and in a way, the first film was Who's Driving the Dreambus. The predominant thing coming out of it was Who's Driving the Dreambus, that question. But you say the likes of Gangaji and some others in that film that in a way they're not dissimilar to Osho in my mind, and that's kind of peddling some sort of wisdom. I mean, the Osho documentary there on Netflix I haven't watched it all actually, but it was always obvious, but it's so obvious now. I mean, it's so clear that any sort of person positioning themselves as a guru or anybody that positions themselves as knowing anything, it's just an overwhelming amount of bullshit. Overwhelming. It might come from a place, but it is bullshit. Like, it's definitely they're selling something. I've got something on offer here, and you can have a little bit of it.
I mean, I'm not convinced that they know that necessarily.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know. I mean, people can be deluded, can't they, by their own ideas about what they've found. And if it's, for example, within a certain context, like someone who has an awakening, a glimpse type experience, and they happen to be devout Catholics, so all of a sudden they think, oh, it's all true. It's all, Jesus is, do you know what I mean? So it's when it's within a certain context, it might feel like these experiences, which are real, that people have talked about within these traditions, like for thousands of years. These experiences where the person drops away and it's just everything. They are, I suppose that when they're in a certain set of teachings, then it can be, it can then that dogma will become even stronger in a way, and they'll be more. I don't know. Because when I'm watching it, the way I've always felt about it is it's like you listen to a clever soundbite, and then you have the feeling, okay, well, that was nice. Now what? What now? What now? There's always what now or what next. What do I do now? Like, there was always that feeling of not having arrived, or something was still missing, after reading all this great stuff or listening to great philosophical talks. And like you say, it is mostly bullshit. But what happened was during the Dreambus is that it became clear, having filmed all of these people, that I was in a position to tell a story and pick and choose words, because it's always just hidden in the words. It's never the words themselves. It's always, what are you going to call it? The truth? No, not the truth. What we're talking about here, non-duality, this. It's hidden within the words. It's not the words. So whether it's Gangaji talking or Osho or any of these people, you can sometimes pick out collections of words which seem to fit in with what we're trying to talk about. and that's what happened with the Dreambus. So I picked and chose. It was a pick and mix from all of these interviews.
Yeah.
And then trying to stay true to what, not contradict the basic communication. It's like the simplicity of this communication. But I don't think it was, as much as I love that film, I think it's a really lovely film, and it's very popular. I think the second one that I did with Charles, called Being Here, is pretty much free of bullshit, because it's just a now I've lost my train of thought.
You were saying it's pretty much free of bullshit. Being Here, the movie that you did with Charles.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Charles described it quite well. He said it's a bit like the trip to Italy with Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon.
Yeah.
But it's not as funny, and it's not in Italy. But what's nice about it, I think, is it's a very, Charles and I have been working together a long time, so we've got this completely honest and open relationship, communication. Like, we just there's no holds barred. We'll say anything to each other, and we've had the biggest fights we do on a regular basis, of big arguments, because we both but then 10 seconds later, after we've had a fight, it's all good again, it's all fine, but we do have these big open discussions. And I think you get that watching the film, is that these people kind of have a true friendship.
Yeah, well, he reminds me a little bit of me in his frustration and his going, what the fuck do you mean now, Boris? You're after saying you got something, but now you can't tell me what you've got. Or you're kind of, you figured out something, but you can't explain what it is.
Yeah.
And then you're going, well, no, I haven't figured out anything. And he's going, no, but it seems to me like you have, and he's going, and you're going, no. And it's kind of back and forth throughout the whole thing. And he's banging his head against the brick wall, almost, if brick wall is the right word. That's what it seemed like. That's what I took from it, anyway. In between all the interviews that happened.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because there's a kind of, if for someone who is not really resonating with this communication, it can feel like exactly that, bumping into a brick wall all the time, or just reaching that dead end, and you just can't. It's very frustrating. There's no question which can kind of, so it's nothing to do with intelligence. So it doesn't matter whether you're kind of Stephen Fry or you've got some really great knowledge about quantum physics, or because it's such a simple, it's just it can't be more simple and direct. It's not it's like I say, it's not selling anything. So, and for someone listening to this now, they're kind of thinking, well, what the hell are they talking about? Do you know what I mean? Like, what? So you've called it non-duality. I remember when I heard that word, I had no idea what it kind of meant. So
I still don't know what it means.
No.
I know I mean, I could explain it back to you from
Advaita.
Yeah.
Yeah, advice. Not to,
oneness or whatever.
yeah.
And But it is fair to say that I suppose what I was getting to in the difference between the two films as well, that in one you're kind of struggling. And my impression was, well, the story behind it anyway, is that one you're kind of this dude who goes on this search.
The narrative
almost.
thread, yeah.
The narrative thread, okay, yeah. That you're this dude who's out there searching for answers, let's just say. And
Yeah.
the answer is the film, or the answer is whatever. And then the second one, it's almost like somebody having a little play with something that they like, if you know what I mean. It's a very, very different sort of thing. Now I know, that's, yeah, to me it's very different in that sense. It's somebody, and I suppose, so there does seem to be a difference in you, or a difference in that striving. There doesn't seem to be a striving in the film at all. It's a presentation of something, or it's a filming of something that happened. There's no story. There's definitely not a story to it.
No. There's always
really selling the movie. It's going to be huge after this. You can be you can be guaranteed. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think this might be the best podcast you've ever done, but I don't think people will realize it in this lifetime.
No, probably a few lifetimes away. Yeah, unfortunately, to be.
Fucking hell, I find this so hard to talk about. I find it almost...
I'm curious about I suppose I want to understand why it's so hard to talk about, or what it's.
Well, you know, when I finished it, I thought, oh, this is quite fun, and I wonder what people are going to think about it. Because I always want to do something that makes me, that I enjoy, and that makes me laugh. And then I think, well, hopefully, it's the same with anyone who's creative. They're sort of thinking, well, hopefully there are other people out there who feel the same way about it.
Mm.
But part of that enjoyment, the reason why, if it works, the reason why it works is because of Charles. Is because without Charles, there is no conflict. There's no, he represents everyone who's really struggling with this. Because what I have to remember is that there are people out there who, this is really important. It's everything.
Mm.
And I remember what it feels like to kind of be pinned to the floor with depression and not wanting to get out of bed and just thinking, what do I do now?
Mm.
What's the point of it? I have to keep reminding myself that that's what happens for a lot of people, because I went through a similar kind of thing. And it's easy to be flippant about it. It's easy to kind of not take it seriously, but it's not a serious thing. It's not a serious communication. So I don't really understand when people feel like they have to dilute it down for people that are apparently suffering, because it's total freedom. It's fucking great news. It's like this tiny little person that you think you are. When I'm saying this now, like it's the truth, I'm just sort of trying to talk about it. But this tiny little person who you think you are is a completely illusory thing. It's not real. It's like you're just this wide open space, you know. You're everything. So, and then you say that and it's like, oh, sounds like bullshit. But it's really great news, you know. But then when I finished the film, I thought, so this is all right. This made me laugh, and it made a couple of friends laugh, and they kind of enjoyed it. I wonder if anyone else would enjoy it. So I thought I'd send it over to my friend at Buddha at the gas pump.
Go on.
Have you heard of that, Buddha at the gas pump?
I have, yeah.
I mean, it's huge. He's interviewed hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And I suspected that he wouldn't like it because it's you know, it's not saying anything is bullshit. It's not like slagging anyone off. It's not doing anything like that. It's just like it's quite a gentle, friendly film, really. But it isn't. It doesn't. It definitely doesn't. It definitely. What am I trying to say?
It fucking doesn't give you anything whatsoever. And
no, it doesn't give you anything.
There's nothing for sale. It's not. I mean, it's a beautifully shot film. It's worth saying, just to, you know, sell it a little bit. It is beautifully shot. And actually, as an aside, I must ask you after we chat.
Yeah,
I'd just like to know how you set up shots so beautifully. Is it the lens and anyway? But let's not go into that.
I can talk about that stuff for hours.
Yeah, well, let's do
that technical stuff.
Let's just pause now. Watch it.
Focal lengths.
Yeah, focal lengths. Yeah,
whatever, sensor sizes.
Okay.
Cameras. Yeah, we can talk all about it. We can do that.
When it comes to technical, I'll just go. Gone, and they're just waving at you. Kenneth tries to talk to me about fucking lenses sometimes, and I just wait till he finishes, and he goes, "Okay, do you understand that?" And I don't even answer him because I think he gets joy out of fucking talking about it himself. So I don't want to interrupt him. What was I going to say to you? Oh, it's a beautifully shot film, but there's nothing for sale on it. There's nothing on offer. You have nothing to get, and that's actually an alien idea because
it upsets a lot of people.
Well, it's because every single tiny fucking thing that is on offer in the world normally is, you know, some sort of end game, some description. Like it really is, and I bring back the Osho example again because I see actually somehow his videos still come up on my feed, and people still kind of, obviously there's still Osho communes, there's still all that going on, and because people much prefer we all do prefer the reward. Do you know? I mean, if I run for 21, I have to run the marathon this Sunday, and the one thing that'll keep me going for the last 6 fucking miles is not, I have to make friends with pain at some point, but it's the chicken wings, the burger, and the beer, reward, right? That's what will keep me going. Seeing myself sitting up at the bar and just moaning those. And so we
say crossing the line and getting the medal.
The medal. No, I'd be wrecked for ages. No, it's the beer, the chicken wings, and the burger. And knowing I might even be still hungry, that I could probably eat some more after it. Yeah. so that for me is, but that's, I think the way we're all built is, you know, you work, you get paid, everything we do is built on the foundation of you're going to get somewhere. Even death is built on a foundation of all going well, buddy, you'll get to heaven. So even death is. So then it's impossible then when something comes along with a film called Being Here, and it's, I suppose it's what is it? It's a description of a reality from these different perspectives. Is that a description of reality from various perspectives? Is that what it is?
Well, the synopsis. Well, it's two guys talking about making a film about what this thing is that we find ourselves in every day.
This thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then plus you interview people like Tony Parsons and Richard Sylvester and
Kenneth Madden.
And Kenneth Madden. Sorry, Kenneth. so sorry, Kenneth. And Kenneth Madden, who's huge in Ireland. And was there a fourth or was it three?
Three. That's
Three,
right.
okay, yeah.
Three.
As a total aside, you know I was going to call mine The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. My film.
Really?
Yeah. It's a good fucking name, isn't it? I changed
Isn't that what did they call themselves? The Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, and Dawkins, and what didn't they call themselves that?
Oh, has it been done, did it? Oh. Well, so I didn't do it anyway.
Oh, right. I thought that's why you were... No, because I think they called themselves that.
I thought it was over-promising, to be honest. That's why I changed it to 0 and 1.
That's a great title, though. It's really good.
0
I
and
love
1,
your film.
Thank you.
I love your film. I watch it quite regularly. It's very funny.
Do you really?
I think you and Kenneth together would be good, doing something together. Like, I know you filmed Kenneth and you kind of get the interaction between you, but
yeah, I was kind of always hesitant up until it wasn't until you and Kenneth sent me. Well, I think it was you who said you'd like to see me in. Remember, I did the first 30-minute synopsis, and then you kind of said it'd be better if I was in it. Or well, you did.
Oh yeah.
You said something like that.
Yeah.
But then it's funny, like, because I got a message from Claire Parsons saying that it's kind of like I've built a story into it now by putting myself into it. So then I thought, oh Jesus. But getting back to your film being here, I think there is a few people who watch these podcasts that I do, and they probably click on to see if it's anyway in relation.
They definitely won't watch the film now, will they? They'll watch.
Well, I think you should watch it because I think it is a beautiful film, and it's just a beautiful film.
I think we're all in the same boat, you know. We're just. It seems like there are people out there who know what's going on and know what this life is, and like, because some people talk with so much authority about it. Some people who were in the first film that I made talk with so much authority about it, and it's just bizarre. I don't know how it's. But having said that, when you listen to someone like Tony Parsons, you know, he can. One of the criticisms is sometimes that he might sound slightly conceited, but when you're hearing if you hear what he's saying, it's nothing to do with him. It's got nothing to do with anyone doing anything, getting anything, going anywhere. It's a really beautiful message and just super exciting, you know. It's very funny. It's very funny. It's just like, that's why there's so much laughter from, you know, when Kenneth does it, or when Andreas does it. It's just hilarious. Who's the other guy? Jim, you interviewed
Jim
in your
Newman,
film?
yeah.
It's just brilliant. And I sort of thought when I finished the Dreambus, I thought, wow, I've done this film now, and there aren't really any other films talking about this, like good quality films that are talking about this. And so it's great. It's just the right time to get the message out there. But within a year or so, everyone will get what's being spoken about, and that'll be that. You know, I won't be able to make another film.
Yeah, it'll totally explode. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like, it's going to be huge.
Yeah,
everyone will be into it.
I'm going to be a gazillionaire. I mean, like, yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
and 9 years down the line, it's like
on the yacht.
Yeah.
Because that's the dream. Like, that's the dream that we both have, isn't it? Just that these.
Yeah. No, wouldn't it be great if it was more popular?
I don't know. Would it? I don't know.
No, just in terms of making a lot of money out of it.
Oh, I suppose if there was a way to make a few bob at it, talking
doing
about
something
this.
that you love, because
Yeah.
this didn't come out of a sort of. This didn't come out of fucking hell, Boris. It wasn't motivated by anything other than a desire to do something fun and sort of interesting and anarchic and a bit crazy and different, and it was just, and it's so ordinary, which I think the funny stuff in the film, and we haven't spoken about the banality of, you know, life, which is also so extraordinary. People talk about sunsets and moments of bliss, but just sipping a cup of tea, you know, just like sitting on the toilet having a good poo, whatever it is, nothing is better or worse than anything else. Some experiences are more preferable. You don't want to, you know,
be tortured.
you don't want to be tortured. No. Yeah, I mean, lots of questions can come up when you say there's no choice and free will, and people say, responsibility, no responsibility because of that. Because there's no choice and free will, then who can be responsible? So people say, well, that's just like nihilism.
Yeah, well, everybody says then, well, I'm going to go out now, and it's funny why they all say, well, I'm going to go out and kill loads of people. It's like, that's to say, why does it always have to be, I'm going to go and kill somebody? I never kind of think that for some reason. I just kind of go, well,
The only thing stopping me from killing someone,
anybody. Yeah,
the only thing stopping me from killing someone is the fact that I have choice and free will.
Yeah. Yeah, what's going on really? Is it well, you should just go out and kill somebody, get it out of your system, like, you know.
Yeah.
Now you will have to go to prison, just so you know, but
yeah.
I should put a TNC about, you know, telling that this is not a prescription to go out and kill somebody. Should I put that in it? Don't go and kill anybody.
Yeah. Well, there's no choice and no free will, so
if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I always kind of find that, though. I mean, because mostly it's when you chat about this thing, it's kind of why does anything matter then? As I was talking actually, and somebody, what was it? Brendan was kind of saying, well, I mean, if you get pulled over by a cop, are you going to go and just go, well, it's all meaningless, nothing matters, and there's nobody here anyway? And he always kind of asks that. And I think Kenneth was kind of saying, I'm relaying a conversation, but he was kind of saying, well,
all of those are, sorry, you go on.
Yeah, he would say, well, the response will be what the response will be.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything. The response will be what the response it will be. And it probably won't be, this is meaningless.
Yeah, because there's no time, and so there's no choice and free will already. So the response is exactly that. It's just the response to any given set of conditions. It's not, there's no one driving the dream bus.
And you see, saying there's no free will, though, is totally a no choice. I mean, intellectually, one part of me will go, it's lovely to hear there's no responsibility. And then the other part of, or no choice, you know, or that there's no free will, that everything just happens. But obviously, systemically, I don't get that to be true. Like, I don't get that. It doesn't feel, for me, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like there's a process.
Yeah, but it's not personal responsibility that we're talking about. It's not. It's like this notion of love, personal love, and unconditional love. It's not. It's more like an absolute responsibility. There's no. It's just a statement of of fact about, because there isn't a little person inside there making choices. There's not someone who's responsible for that. That's not to say that you won't carry on looking after your children and being nice to people, because there already isn't someone being nice to people. You've never done anything in your life.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of, there is the gap in terms of that sentence. And I'm not just honing in that fucking sentence now, by the way, but there is that gap in, there's an alternative perception. I mean, there isn't another way to put it. There is an alternative perception. Kenneth was saying he used to just always think I was pretending, but there is fucking prick. But there is an alternative perception then, because I wouldn't say what you're just after saying there. Now I don't even remember what you said, to be honest with you. But can you remember what you said?
I just said there isn't anyone being nice to people, or not being nice, or looking after.
There never has. No, you've never done anything in your whole life, is what you
No.
never said. Yeah, so that's a kind of I just wouldn't say something like that.
No.
I like the idea of it, and a part of me, I wouldn't be fucking here talking about it if I kind of didn't. But it's still an alien thing. It's still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
No,
not
I mean,
there.
it's only
0.1% of what's spoken about.
It's only when we're talking about life, it only comes out when we're talking about something like life. But it's pointless to go through this thing called life using language like that on a daily basis, and taking out the personal pronouns and things like that. It's just ridiculous, wouldn't be. And then there's the story of life as well, which we love. We love the story. We love talking about where we've come from, where we're going. But that's just a story. That's why it's called a story.
Do you think would Claire ever say? Claire's your wife, is that right?
Yeah.
Would Claire ever have noticed the difference between obviously the person who was lying in bed and depressed, and then the person who went and made the film, and then was there ever a situation where she noticed the difference in you and your demeanor and your manner with her and the kids and everything going on in your life? Did she kind of go, did she ever notice anything different? See, I want to find the differences. See, can't have it.
Yeah.
But did she ever notice the difference?
That's interesting, isn't it? Because you want to see what's happened with the person. See what's...
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But this, what we call the present moment, has always been exactly just this present moment. It's always, whether you're 10 years old, 9 years old, looking for enlightenment, becoming a monk, meditate, whatever the story is of whatever the story you tell about your life, the present moment is always just without story. It's no story in it. It's just this. It's just like, what is it? I don't know. How do you describe it? You say it's life. It's the sky and the ground and the trees and the windows and the apples and the whatever it is. But no words that you use, no description of anything comes close to packaging it up. It seems like you can. I mean, this is one of the arguments that I have with Charles. It sounds stupid, but you call this a table. Is this a table? I mean, you're picking out the appearance of this, apparent thing here in front of us, and you're saying it's table. But it's a lot more mysterious than that. I mean, you can't know anything about this present moment. It's just. There's no time. It's not. My bladder's going to explode. I'm just going to go for a pee.
Go on, yeah. I should do the same.
Is that for soundproofing that stuff on the side?
What's that? I'm definitely leaving in the whole P section there.
Yeah.
Entropy, definitely leaving that.
Well,
in.
that's the best bit, I think.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they for soundproofing those panels on the left, on the back behind you, and the?
Yeah, there was a bit of. It wasn't soundproofing. It was just to manage when we were doing the live thing. We did the live show.
Yeah.
The Emmett is pretty good on the sound, and the kind of sound was bouncing around the room. So this is way of managing it, I think.
Are you still doing that?
No, we did 17 live.
That one with the cake that made me laugh so much. The one with is it still up?
The ass on the cake? No.
No, the one with the moldy cake. You got moldy cake or something.
Oh no, but we actually that was one thing we did. But we did this.
Was that real?
It was real, yeah. That was the time when we myself and Hill got, I think, carrot cake, and it was moldy.
Yeah. Oh, that was amazing. Yeah.
But we did on Facebook. We did 17 live TFI style shows with 3 different sets. So we had there's another room in there, and we had a band in there, and that was the green room. And then we had one set there with 2 guys, and then where I do my podcasts, another set. And we were able to alternate 3 cameras live on Facebook over 3 hours. It was pretty amazing.
So is that not on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on Facebook. Some of the highlights are on.
I'm not on Facebook.
YouTube. Oh, you're not. You're dead right. There is a YouTube channel called Go Live Creations, and on that there's loads of shit that
all right.
put up. Yeah, but we did 17 live, and a Friday night the house used to be taken over with 10, 12 people.
Yeah. I'll check that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got this new office chair, which is really good.
You've got fucking 2 fancy things there, really.
Called a Hag Capisco.
Now, do me a favour, sit on that, right?
Yeah.
up high, and then use the
Very high.
Yeah, go right up high like that now, and then now go over to the thing that that thing you showed me. Don't go down yet. Don't go down yet. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. You see Can you come closer to the desk? You know the way you made your computer go up really high like that at the very start.
Yeah.
Can you go down and up at the same time? Just for me.
Can I go down on the chair?
Go down on the chair and let the computer thing.
Oh right.
Rise up.
I don't know. That sounds a bit tricky.
There we go.
No, but it's got this great thing where you can turn it this way around.
Yeah.
Like that, and then you can lean forward on it.
It looks like you're on one of those mopeds, actually, for a second. Yeah. And why is that good?
Comfy.
Oh, that's comfy, is it?
Yes, very, very comfortable. Yeah.
I was in the at one point when we were talking.
Yeah.
And I had the thought.
Let's just try and be really interesting for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, get a really good sales thing going for your film. Yeah. Let's get some good shit out. No, I had this thought when we were talking that, oh man, this sounds, if anybody used to tune into this, they just go, okay, this is mental hospital stuff. Genuinely, it kind of just sounded like, oh, what the fuck, what the fuck are you going on about? Let's just go back to talking about the chairs.
Yeah.
It's more fun. Look. Because that's totally.
Oh, well, this is the other thing. This is the other thing I've got. I can show you.
Go on,
Which is a. You see me? Hang on, I'm going to go up now.
Yeah. That's just amazing.
This is the best bit.
So futuristic looking. This is.
So ready?
Yeah. Oh.
So it's called a wobble board anyway. So it's like a platform which you can stand on, and then you can shift your weight back and forwards, and it's good for your.
So you can stand when you're doing your editing. Oh, okay, yeah. So you use that, and you're standing doing your editing.
Yeah. Okay. They say you can stand for 8 hours, for most of the day, but I find after 45 minutes I have to sit down again.
Yeah, do you not get this kind of pain in your hip?
Not so much, no, but it's just like the ankles and the just being static like that becomes very uncomfortable. What other interesting things can we talk about?
Yeah, no, this is really good. Anyway, look, how much is your movie if people were to buy your movie? Because it's definitely, I mean, just be prepared to be inundated with orders. But you can watch it on Vimeo. I'll include
you can
a
see
link.
the trailer on YouTube.
How many have you sold as a matter of interest?
You can kind of get a gist of the what it's like from watching the first 10 minutes.
Have you? How many have you sold?
About 150.
And did you email everybody who bought your film?
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many was that on your database, as a matter of interest? How many email addresses did you have?
I had about 2,000. No, I had about 1,000 email addresses. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know why people aren't into it.
Yeah, it's a strange fucking thing. Like, really,
I don't know, but I think I tell you what it is. This is what it is. It's that people who are genuinely struggling with this, or people who just enjoy being sold a certain kind of collection of ideas that sound like they're on the right track by doing all of the things that they're doing, meditation and kind of there's a goal, there's an end goal, like you were saying, there's somewhere to aim for. I think those kind of people might not resonate with what I'm saying in the film. But then I thought, well, Charles playing the role of the skeptic would balance it out in that way. So that's why I thought it would work. I thought the fact that he's doing what he's doing would be satisfying for the people who are struggling with the non-dual communication, like those words that Kenneth and Tony are saying. But it's just impossible for anyone to know really what the response to their piece of work is going to be, isn't it? So it just so happens that it's quite niche.
Yeah, well, I think it is the most niche thing, really.
Yeah.
Now, those who are into it are really into it, and yeah, I think it's either the type of thing you come along to it and you go, "That's a load of bullshit," or it's the type of thing you come along to and go, "What the fuck was just said there?" Like, it's funny. I read like the comments on 0 and 1, and sometimes you just somebody put a comment up the last day, which was Jesus Christ, and I kind of. Well, I suppose I'm imagining that they've stumbled upon it and gone, holy fucking hell, I've never heard anything like that in my life. Or Jesus Christ, that's a load of fucking horse shit, like easily. Yeah. But you get those kind of things. So it's interesting that. And it's interesting, it's kind of organic, all right, how maybe everything is organic, but how especially you can't sell it, you can't market it, you can't really pump it out there. It just doesn't seem to kind of operate like that.
Once you start doing that, selling it, then suddenly there's some kind of agenda. There's some kind of, you start twisting it. You kind of, It's so there are so few people who are talking about it in a way, talking about this life thing in a way which is oh man, what am I trying to say?
What you were saying there is that there are so few people
who aren't selling something.
But that is it is, and that's why it's so what the fuck, like, what's the point of this? This is bullshit, because we are totally and utterly conditioned to getting some sort of a reward, some sort of an end game, some sort of there's something in this for me to make my life easier and better and give me more joy. There has to be something that I can really get stuck into here, and and fucking I will get my spiritual six-pack, I think.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
And whilst it might be perceived as being spiritual, so it's good, and it's honorable, it's not really, still fucking an agenda-driven sort of bollocks. So and either you kind of, you see, I'm saying I'm very critical of it, calling it an agenda-driven box, because I worked in marketing. I know bullshit. Like, I know how to sell shit.
Yeah.
And that my expertise was creating a story about something, and that was totally. So I see it now, and I always kind of go now, but just hold on a second now. When you were giving me these 10 steps, do you have to wipe your ass though? Your shit still stinks though, doesn't it? Let's just get that clear. And you still get irritable in the morning, and you still want to kill somebody who fucking drives in front of you. Can we just make sure all those things are crystal clear? Then I believe you. But don't give me the impression that your life is absolutely immaculately fucking beyond joy, total bliss, perfect. Don't give me that impression, because that's what you are doing, and then you're peddling something. You're peddling that you're the guru, you've got something, and if I follow this way, I'm guaranteed to get there.
Yeah.
And that's
So why so the way you're describing it now, it just sounds so insidious, it just sounds like so wrong to be selling that to someone. But that's what people like, and they don't like being told that that it's much more simple and fantastic than that, and that you're not there as the self. But because it's not a convincing idea, like my mum's, she's obviously, she'll watch she's. Oh no, I shouldn't talk about my mother. All right.
It's okay to talk about your mammy. You're not going to say anything bad about your mammy.
No.
And she liked to get a mention.
But,
Mammies like to get a mention. Anyway.
You know, there was that experience, the apparent experience I had when I was doing this course in when I was about 29, where everything just dropped away, and it was just everything, just like the whole everything. For what, you know, seemed like less than a split second. Not you could it's not in time, so it's just, but it was just like doof, everything. And the reason why that was so insignificant, even just after it happened, was because I was suddenly back in the room, and I knew that it wasn't for me. It wasn't something that I could recreate and have again. So this glimpse of the totality, if you want to call it, of everything, only happened because I dropped away. Like the me, what we think of as a person, dropped away, and there was just everything. But because I can't, because you can't. Oh fuck! Do you know what? Don't publish this podcast. But it's ridiculous.
What?
It's just impossible. I can't talk about this in a coherent way. I mean, it's like.
Hi, if you like the conversation that I just had and you'd like more, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you.
Frank, come on, man.